Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Osoyoos Committee of the Whole on April the 22nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. So I will check to see if there are any late items. No, thank you. So could we have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Thank you. Councillor Bennett, Councillor Chong, all in favor? Thank you. And the adoption of the Committee of the Whole minutes on April the 8th, 2025. We need a motion to adopt the minutes. Councillor King, you okay with that? Councillor Bennett? All in favor? Thank you. And we will first go to petitions and delegations. And our first one today is Heart for Heroes, Salute to Armed Forces and First Responders in BC. And could Tammy Herman please come up to the microphone? Thank you. You need to turn that, there you go.
Okay, good morning,
Welcome.
Council. About a year and a half ago, I had the idea that we needed to change a few things with our armed services and first responders. The last 5 years, I'm sure we can all agree of how difficult it has been for the province. And so we thought if we had a special day where they could come out, be appreciated, spend the time with their families, and we promote Osoyoos because we're going to host it here up at the Desert Park, hopefully. So we've contacted the RCMP musical ride. We've contacted the Snowbirds. There's a number of things that are going on that we hope to be able to perform. We're going to be having a canine officers display so that they'll all be on parade too. So what we want to do is just let you know what we're interested in doing, but it's going to take a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy. And I've been working directly with Gerald and Sarah, so it's been kind of nice to be able to throw things back and forth. I could have brought my whole committee, but I didn't, and thank God I didn't. I don't think there'd have been room. But we have an officer from each individual agency with first responders and the military that's on the board with me. We invite you to come down to the spray park if you see my Hyundai outside. And we're using that as an office because we've got so much stuff to store. And it has to be secure because it's all military and protected items. So we're just here to let you know that this is what we'd like to do. Money is a big concern. It's going to cost about $45,000 to put on. And we're raising money. I brought a few flyers here. We have the 9th annual community garage sale coming up in May on the 17th and 18th. And the public just seemed to love this idea. They were already phoning for tickets and I'm going, no, we're not ready to sell tickets yet. It's not until August the 23rd, 2026. We have to have 18 months. If we can get the jets, they have to have 18 months approval for the airspace. And the musical ride, depending on which government gets in, depend on whether there is a musical ride anymore. It's up in question of whether they can continue to support it. And so if they go ahead, they have us on first of the list. And being that I've hosted them twice in the Lower Mainland before, they kind of knew who I was. So they've put us on their list. And I made the date to be on their way to the P&E because they always perform at the P&E. And if we can hit them, they don't really have a reason why they couldn't be here because they're on their way. But they are struggling and they are fighting with politics to try and keep the ride in order. So that's what we're doing. I ask all of you to show your support. We don't want it to be a political day. We want it to be for the officers. And if the musical ride comes, each officer, each agency will have one officer in full uniform to take the salute from the horses. And so we thought that was rather nice. We invite everybody to come, the premier, everybody will be invited. But I think the headstand will be for the officers showing what they've done in the last little while. So that's all we're here to say. And I've got a bunch of cards. If you're interested or you think you can offer something out to any of us,
leave them, yes. With our,
we'd love to hear from you. That's the number. And the grad sale flyers are here too. So if you're in your house and want to get rid of a bunch of stuff, that would help also. And that's about what I need to tell you at this point. We can't go ahead anymore until we hear from the musical ride, etc. But we are going even if the musical ride doesn't come.
Well, thank you very much. And we love your enthusiasm. And I know I talked to you last year and you, I said, I'm sure that the town would certainly support all your efforts to do this. Um, there are some town grants that you could apply for in the fall, and that could be considered along with our other grants, resort municipality possibly, or a grant and aid. So both of those are available. And if you've been dealing with Gerald, then he would know that for sure.
Yeah, he's working with me on the grants, yes.
Great. Well, I think sounds to me like it would be a wonderful opportunity. We have had some pretty big concerts up at Desert Park over the years. We had Brian Adams one year. So we've had, and the Righteous Brothers, I think, too.
And we are working on that, your mayor. We are
Yes.
hoping at 6 o'clock, we will have a concert in the middle of the field. What we want to do is we're trying to get somebody that will donate their time so that the money can be used for this. But to understand what we're doing is any money, and we don't expect there'll be a lot, but any money that will be raised from this, we want to go to Honor House. And if none
Yes.
of you know, if any of you know what Honor House is, I'm sure you can appreciate it. But what it is a quick thing, is we're like a Ronald McDonald House for all of our first responders and military. We provide them free housing and care for if they get injured on the job or suffering from a disease caused by the job. We get them and their family back on their feet for them to return to duty. And so it's pretty nice to have that. As a 30-year officer, I needed them, didn't know what it was until I arrived there, and I wouldn't have survived without it. They were amazing. So my heart's kind of in a soft spot for that, but that's what we're doing.
Well, thank you. I'll just see if anybody has any questions for you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not a question, but a comment. Local Rotary in Desert Park is also in contact with the musical ride for next year. So just aware there's a package of volunteers that will help.
That's wonderful to know. I've had a couple people say higher up than I ever was, well, we'll just call them and tell them they're going to be here. They don't want to hear from any more of us. They know they have us on the list. They're sincere enough that they will be here if they can. And so we don't want to upset the apple cart of 15 or 20 people phoning every day to this poor staff sergeant who's just waiting to have a schedule made. But yes, I really appreciate that. I am in touch with Kiwanis. They're working with me. And the Desert, she's been on board too. Marty's been on board. So everybody seems to think it's a great idea so far.
I know this is a contact through Ottawa. We're dealing, because we asked for them 3 years ago before COVID, and they turned us down, so they got back in touch with us, because they are coming to BC next year for sure.
Yes, 2026 is
Yeah.
British Columbia's year, if they're still in it. Yeah,
Well, terrific. So you've got some help locally too.
thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you very much
Thank you
for
for your
presenting
time.
this, and we appreciate your enthusiasm and continue to keep us in the loop.
Thank you
about
very
this.
much for your time.
Thank you. And the next is that we have some Osoyoos farmers, and I think Ranbir is going to speak on this. Are you? Oh, okay, not a problem. Would you, whoever's going to speak on this issue? Pardon? Yes, 5, yeah. Could you come forward to the microphone? Who's ever going to speak? And you do know that your presentation is 5 minutes, correct? Yes. So we will keep track of the time. So could you give us your names first of all, and then welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Kelly.
My name is Pavan.
Okay, go ahead.
So we are here for the issue of the new bylaw pertaining to farm acreage. And especially one of the main issues is, I believe, the 14-day charge that the farmers will be penalized with, because if they haven't used it, then why are they getting charged? And that's just to give you a brief idea of what Kelly will speak on and she will elaborate on. The second is the 1.3 times per acreage bylaw that is being proposed, that for several reasons, farmers will have an issue with, and that's all over Osoyoos. And this is just a very small group of people who were able to come forward today, but there, if you see the petitions that are signed, there's many, many more. And for several reasons, this would be absolutely terrible to farmers. You guys know that farmers made no money last year. every farmer in the Okanagan suffered. So why make them suffer more?
Okay, I'll touch
Thank you.
base
Go
more.
ahead.
We also have a petition as well that I will put forward to you guys. Would you like this or to the admin? Okay. There's that. And then we also get told, if it's not a bylaw issue, it becomes an RDUS issue, right? But we are part of the town and the community here, right? We all pay property taxes here. If it does become an RDUS issue, then why are we not being put towards Penticton? And within the jurisdictions, with the bylaws, you guys also say, like, for example, like where the school bus goes, that's also part of the town's jurisdiction. So the bus goes up and down the valley here, part of Osoyoos as well, right? And then the other issue is, so if we get told not to use our garden hoses, or not to use our housing taps, and for that. So if we start putting our fertilizer and everything to use our home water that way, and something comes airborne, who takes the liability in that? Is it RDOS or is it Osoyoos? We would like answers
And
to.
further to that issue, there's been times where I have called bylaw of Osoyoos for different matters, and we were told that we are not part of Osoyoos, that we are part of RDOS. Town of Osoyoos bylaw cannot help us. And so now, conveniently, we are part of Osoyoos, so we would pay the farming bylaws.
So can I just interrupt and just say that everybody in the town of Osoyoos and Area A, which is rural Osoyoos, that we're all part of the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen. So water issues involve all of us in town and the Area A outside of town. The water districts 8 and 9 are involved with this. So I just wasn't sure whether that was clear with you.
But my concern, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
you,
no, go
but my
ahead.
concern is still that, when I've called bylaw in the past for an issue, we were told that we're not part of a source, so then why would these bylaws affect us? Those people, especially those farmers that are outside of a source.
I will let Mr. Risling answer that. Could you do that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So the town of Osoyoos is, has boundaries. And within those boundaries, bylaw and a bunch of other bylaws are impacted just on the town of Osoyoos. So bylaws in the RDOS are RDOS issues. Water, as part of the ag system or the irrigation system, is run by the town. So anything that's associated directly just with the water in there is the town. But
So
as
it's like-
far as bylaws associated with other issues, that's the RDOS, or
Yeah.
any other like road issues or garbage issues, that's all RDOS. Water specifically, the line, that's the town. Hopefully that.
That
Provides
it was
clarity.
clarifying, thank you.
Did you have a question? Okay.
I'm not sure whether people are confused because we end up dealing with about 4 different water districts. Okay, the old solid system, which is from Road 22 to the border on the west side of the lake, was given to the town of Osoyoos to maintain when it went bankrupt or whatever the case may be. The town of Osoyoos does not look after anything up on the East Bench. So if you're phoning from the East Bench saying, I got a water problem, that's why the person at the village yard knows nothing about it.
Clarified, the issues weren't involving.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm trying to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So the only thing that we can help you with, and you gotta be addressing, is the old solid system on this side of the lake.
Yep.
Okay?
So go ahead, because we have a time limit here. Was there something that you wanted to
And
to
so I would
ask
not be
for help?
informed
Because
before.
we can't deal with it this year, whatever it is, because the early watering is already passed, where everybody's on regular watering now, right?
But I
Yeah.
would ask that with these new regulations, if they can't be dealt with yet, how did the new bylaws for the water come into place? And when those came into place, then why was the community not asked
Informed.
about it? Why were we not a part of that decision that heavily impacts people?
I believe the watering bylaw was passed last year. Am I correct? Or 2 years ago? Would you like to just clarify that one point? And that includes water outside of the town boundary too. Is
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
So, Your Worship, the water bylaw is passed every year with new rates. The turn-offs and turn-ons have been in place, but were implemented this year. So for several years, there was no charge, even though it was in the bylaw. We do know that some of the customers that came in last year, we did inform them that they were in 2025 that we were going to start charging those fees that were actually in the bylaw. And every year, council deliberates the budget, and if changes are discussed during the budget process, that's when that bylaw is actually passed during the water budget deliberations.
And budget deliberations are done openly. They're not done in camera. So those would be there. And any water issues that are dealt with, our water counselors are those are the ones that attend. And I'm sorry, I can't take any more questions. I believe we have some information from you, and I think we will have to. So you know what? That's not really what this meeting is about. You're just providing us information. If you would like to talk to the water counselors, that would be outside of this meeting.
But we should talk to our council because the water council don't know when this happens. So because the water council, they don't know.
Yeah, actually, the water counselors have been part of the bylaws and they have been here at the meetings when we've discussed it. So I totally understand your concerns about this, and we thank you for coming. If you have something specific that you would like to recommend or suggest to us, please write it down, send it either to the water counselors or the town of Osoyoos, and we can then look at it the next time we do.
Do you guys have a business card?
Email?
Absolutely.
Email?
We
SMS?
can, our water counselors have business cards, and if you ask at the front desk, they will get them.
Talk to water council because everybody called the water council, they say we don't know when it's gonna happen.
So I'll just tell you that we do all discuss this at meetings, and water counselors and town counselors are all part of it.
Why are they getting such a response that we don't know?
And I'm sorry, you will have to talk to them about that.
Okay,
But
we'll
you
figure that
have,
out, though.
yeah,
I gotta
you
punch
have
figure
just,
that out.
you've brought this forward. It's on camera. Everybody understands that there is an issue, and we will certainly, appreciate the fact that you came and told us, and we'll look at it again when we deal with this issue.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
our last ask, can you guys provide the minutes of when those motions were carried forward?
They are certainly
Whenever
on
these bylaws were discussed.
the town. There would be on the town website.
Yeah, they're under council agendas. So
Okay.
if you go to the website, and there's minutes of all the meetings that have occurred, and you got to go to the budget meetings.
It's on the budget meeting. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And please contact the town if you're having trouble with finding something, okay? Thank you very much for coming. Okay, we will move on to staff reports, and we'll ask Director Davis to give a report on community services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just give you a quick update, the first quarter for the Department of Community Services for 2025. This past year, during this time, we hosted the long-running Adam Fiesta Tournament. This was the 51st year of the tournament. We also hosted the U13 Provincial Minor Hockey Tournament. Osoyoos Coyotes hockey game attendance was up by over 300 patrons compared to 2023, 2024. Over 200 program registrations and 16 special event applications were completed. Our fitness class participants remain constant with mobility and core, topping over 700 participants over 24 classes. Steady increase in membership purchases, including the low income subsidy program. 2 rounds of RMI grants of $100,000 were awarded, along with over $60,000 in community service grants. And our capital projects are scheduled to be on track. Does council have any questions?
Thank you, Director Davis. I see that in the community grants, there is still a balance of $1,700. Is that right? And that is in case something comes up during the year that we decide to support?
That is correct, Madam Mayor, yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Chong.
Thank you. I notice here a Southeast Meadowlark Playground on track for August 2025. So we're good.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yes, we have a design concept. I have been in contact with some locals in the neighborhood, and we will be moving forward with that as much as we can with the budget that we've got approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead, Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you very much. I guess with that park and Meadowlark, is there an opportunity to clean it up before the summer so the kids could actually play in the dirt if they chose to? Because I mean, there's big mound of stuff there.
Thank you, Councillor King. That will be done in according with what we're actually planning to do. There is some work obviously to be done before anything is put in place, but that is something that we will definitely work on, yes.
So I went down and took pictures of it a while back, and I sent them to staff. I do know that there are puncture vine, I was told. I didn't go out and start walking around to find it. But can that be cleaned up at the same time when the mounds of dirt are moved? Is that a possibility, or do we have that in the budget?
I will say, I'll comment on this, but I wouldn't want to put our CAO on the spot or our new director of operations. But we do have a program for treating puncture vine, and at some point, yes, we're going to have to deal with that for sure. And what the schedule is or how that is, I'm not unsure at this time. So
I do know that puncture vine is much harder to get rid of at this end of the valley. It doesn't like a lot of water, so maybe that will help because we've had maybe a little more than usual this year. And I've been told at the regional district and other places that you need to put it into a bag and double bag it, and do not put it in with your yard waste because then it spreads through all the yard waste. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions of Director Davis? Thank you very much.
thank you.
And now we have corporate services.
Thank you, Your Worship. So in front of you is the Corporate Services quarterly report. I just want to touch on a few specific ones. I wanted to put, we have unpermitted signs is up significantly from last quarters of 2024 and 2023. And what we've noticed is that we have signs popping up that don't meet our sign bylaw, or we've had items placed on sidewalks that actually aren't permitted in the area. So we've had more concerns with that, and bylaw has had to work with the building inspector to kind of navigate this because there is so many different things around the community right now. So I just wanted to point that one out. Miscellaneous traffic concerns. We've had burnt vehicles, burnt travel trailer, abandoned vehicles. So it's taking up more of bylaw's time trying to locate an owner or remove the vehicle off the streets that they're congesting. Animal control, we have seen a decrease, which is great. We still do have a lot of dogs at large that would be great if people could take them for a walk instead of letting them go on their own. I wanted to also bring to your attention that the Osprey Cam is active now. And it gains a lot of momentum and a lot of people enjoy watching it. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson. I was just looking at the victim services part, and it was posted but not filled. So it's currently reposted. Do we not have a victim services officer right now?
And Your Worship, we do have a victim services.
Program?
Yes, currently we
okay.
still have a program. We in the past had 2 employees, so we're down to 1. So the posting is still out there until filled. We are reviewing any applications that come in.
Okay.
And then as it progresses, we hope to fill that position as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any? Go ahead, Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are we still having any inquiries about the trailers parked up above the golf course there, or the houses up there? Strawberry Creek, I hear there's still trailers up there.
Yes, so above the golf course, we don't have any, we haven't had any complaints or concerns about it. Over in the Strawberry Creek area, we have had a few concerns about it, and we have contacted the proper department who is working to rectify that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson, for your report. And we will move on to Financial Services Department. Director Zackel.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before you guys is the first quarter financials. So right now projecting a $495,000 surplus in our general fund, a $1,500 surplus in the Sunbull account. One item to bring to council's attention is now that we've moved to quarterly utility billings, our cash receipt postings went from 1,200 within a quarter to 4,563 in a quarter. So a lot more transactions being processed. So it's got the front counter and staff a lot busier than they were previously. And I'll field any questions if there's any.
I just wondered on the accounts payable part, invoices processed and so on, we have 2025 first quarter and 2023. And I'm just wondering if 2024 was left out on purpose or?
No, that's a clerical error in my
Oh.
my point. That should have said 2024.
Okay, thank you. And I don't think I have any. So, I know, I was at one more question. What is the difference between delinquent taxes and arrears taxes?
Okay, so delinquent taxes are taxes that are outstanding for 3 years.
Okay.
And basically delinquent taxes are subject to tax sale in September of each year.
Yes.
That number has slowly grown over the years. At the end of the first quarter, we had 24 outstanding properties. I believe a couple of them have been paid since that time. Staff is working hard trying to ensure that we're communicating with number one, the property owner. Number two, if there is a registered charge holder on the property, we're trying to be in contact with them as well to ensure that these taxes get paid and that property owners, hopefully not losing their house.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Zackel. And we will go on to the fire department. CAO Risling, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, the fire department has been doing their thing. On a positive note, calls are down a little bit from 2024, 53 versus 48. So it's moving in the right direction. Let's just hope that continues. As far as education is one of the big pieces that fire department's proud of, and definitely prevention is the best cure to fires, and they continue to do their public education program. They went to the Coyotes game and talked about fire prevention. Adam Fiesta they were present for, and they continue to hold open houses once in a while where the public is able to take a look at the fire hall and talk to fire personnel. Our volunteers are obviously the lifeblood of that department and the community. Firefighter Jones received his firefighter 1 and 2 certificates. That's a big milestone. And the department's also working on the shuttle service, which is something that will improve service to our rural area where there's no hydrants. So they've been working hard to get that accreditation, and hopefully we'll be able to achieve that, and that could potentially have a positive impact on the protection ratings within that area. So yeah, so hopefully they can do that. I know it's a lot of work to get that certification, but they always come through. So that concludes my report.
Good, thank you. I just want to thank the Osoyoos Fire Rescue for providing hot dogs at Easter Extravaganza. They always sell out, and I bet you there were firefighters. I bet you there were 40 of them there. Maybe I was mixed up with all of the people that were also there. Sometimes children and partners were also came. So they did a great job, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody have any other concerns? Okay, thank you. And are you going to talk about operational services, or is our new director going to talk about it?
I can give this a
Go
whirl.
ahead, Mr. Hillen.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I wasn't here during the first quarter, so we'll see what between myself and CEO Risling if we can tag
Okay.
team this a bit.
Perfect, go ahead.
Other than that, just a quick update from what I do know. I've just been getting up to speed on all of our capital projects and the operations and what Osoyoos does. And we are in the process of still finding more water operators. As I think we are down to about 4 right now. So yeah, so it is taxing on the crew a little bit, but they're pulling together and they're doing their best to move forward. So as far
Good.
as the department, I can answer any questions, but I wasn't here for the first quarter.
We'll see if Mr. Risling has anything else to add.
Maybe just a couple pieces, and it's been kind of a patchwork of the
Mhm.
3 of us kind of looking after that department, and just congrats to the team and a thank you for kind of keeping the lights on there. Just a couple things that are interesting in the report is with regards to water usage and landfill. There's been declines in as far as usage, which is a very good thing from a water conservation perspective. Maybe this summer will go better than we have in the past. And just one more item. Unfortunately, there's a couple pieces of data that were not included in the report as far as number of breaks and that were not included, and we hope to get that information and update this report. So we didn't want to delay the entire quarterly update because we're missing a few data points. So we apologize for that, but we will update this report.
Thank you very much. Looking at the capital projects that were included in the budget and their status, we do understand with the lack of staff and that many of these have been sort of delayed over the past year. And so we're looking forward to having more staff and being able to complete some of these. So thank you. And sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say kudos to your staff for having to, when they're out there with the lawnmower or where all the signs are in the corner and going around for about an hour through amongst all the signs. They mowed it, looked really good, but what a job that was.
Is this the election signs you're talking about? Yeah, for sure. Well, they have to have them down, I think, one day after the 28th, right? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor.
ahead.
I guess I'm looking at page 5 on my screen about the volume of agricultural water. It shows just about 25,000 this quarter, and last quarter was under 20 or just over 20. Is there a rationale why it's so much higher?
What's your worship? Sorry, I noticed that as well, but I don't have an answer for
that's
you,
fine.
but we can definitely I was surprised at that as
Mhm.
well. Like one of the things that
Mhm.
you do, the chart is a bit misleading because it starts at 19,000, it goes to 25,000. So
Yeah,
it is about a 10% increase, and
Yeah.
by the diagram, it looks like it's
It looks
50%.
yeah, it's double.
So
yeah.
it's not as substantial as the diagram shows. So the 10% maybe isn't too out of line.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions for this. We will look at Mr. Risling again on planning and development.
Thank you, Your Worship. You know, our planning group is led by the RDWS, and they've come forward to council and committee of the whole numerous times over the past quarter. And some of the big projects that were completed this past quarter were the housing needs report, and that was a legislated requirement. Also, some business license bylaw updates, which are also going to incorporate some short-term rental fees. And I know the short-term rentals, there's been some work on it. There was some open houses to gather additional feedback, and I'm hearing that they will be coming at the next council meeting to provide another update on short-term rentals. Other things of interest within the report are a number of inquiries. They've been increasing about 10 to 15% as far as walk-in traffic and phone calls and emails, although building permits themselves are down, and I think that has a lot to do with short-term rentals and other issues that are going on. So yeah, there's a lot more in planning development than just building permits. And so the staff have been extremely busy just doing other administrative duties, and that concludes the planning development report.
Thank you. I was just interested in the part on food trucks. And we have two locations, Pioneer Walkway and behind the band shell. Have we accepted any food truck applications for this year, or is that not come forward yet?
Dear Worship, I believe 2 have been approved. It's I think the one at Gyro, or it's just in the process. So there is going to be one at that location. Yeah, I don't think that paperwork has been signed off, but it is in the works. And I believe the one on Pioneer has been signed off. So those are 2 that are gonna likely continue in 2025.
We seem to be asked why there aren't more food trucks around, and I'm sure it's the people that manage them or run them choose what is important to them. And maybe we put out the application and people can apply if they want, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Your Worship, this last go around when we did the consultation on the business license review, we did include some questions pertaining to food trucks. It is a mixed bag. Definitely a lot of people love food trucks, and then you have some of the bricks and mortar people
Yes.
that have concerns with food trucks. Within our existing bylaw, and policy basically indicates that we can't provide licenses to food trucks that are in close proximity to the bricks and mortar entities that are out there. So that may be one of the reasons. But again, we're reviewing that information and maybe looking at potentially some changes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, so thank you to all the directors for providing those quarterly reports. I find them quite interesting to read through and see the statistics. And I kind of want to thank our front office staff because they're the ones that deal with all this on a daily basis, and they've done an amazing job at answering phones and talking to people about their issues. Really appreciate it to all of our front office.
Yeah, Your Worship, I mean, it has been extremely busy, as Director Zackel's indicated, with the quarterly billings, with various mailouts. Yeah, just a huge kudos to them.
Totally agree. Okay, thank you very much. So we're moving on to the sand toy box. And we have a report from Director Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to give you a brief summary here, this is a request from Gino's Restaurant to offer free toys at the Legion Beach location. They did contact us and they are willing to purchase toys so they can be used at no cost. This was previously brought to council on September the 10th of 2024. And at that point, council had requested to bring forward something to move this forward. In doing some research, we contacted the Municipal Insurance Association and they did think this was a great idea. They did highlight, however, some items to help reduce our liability in terms of communication and signage. Make sure that we have a defined area. The operation and the maintenance of this is paramount in terms of liability issues. And the possibility of looking at other options for either agreement or a policy. So the discussion highlighted in the report whether to adopt the draft policy specific to this program or to develop a formal agreement with Geno's instead of the draft policy, whether to accept donations as part of the toy program, whether to accept Geno's restaurant offer to maintain the program, whether operations should address the issues on a complaint basis, and whether an overall corporate policy on sponsorship should be added to the council strategic priorities chart. This being an opportunity for Geno's to possibly advertise, even though it was a memorial in, for her loved one and not specifically to the restaurant, but they are both connected. So the options before council are that the committee provide input and direction for the implementation of the Sand Toy Box program and policy, and there was a draft policy attached, and that the box be removed and inform Geno's that this is a liability and we cannot maintain at this time. And the recommendation is that the committee provide input and direction for the implementation of the Sand Toy Box program and policy.
Thank you very much. So, council, what do you think? Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, to Director. Have we checked with MIBC on liability? When you have toys and kids and somebody chokes, or
Yes.
that
Yes.
would be my concern.
Yeah, and they've identified a number of options that we could have in place to make sure that we reduce that liability.
Yeah, thank you. I guess along the same lines, I understand you talk to insurance, but it's really comes down to, you can prove with signs and stuff, but whose liability is in the end, the town or Geno's?
Madam Mayor, through Councillor King, I guess if we're concerned about that liability, then maybe an agreement could be put in place and identified that in terms of the liability. My understanding is that if that's put on our beach and it's a public property, maybe at the end of the day, it is our liability. And again, that could be defined more either in the policy or in an agreement with Gino specifically.
One other thing, then is there sort of agreement if the toys all keep going missing every week, they're going to replace them kind of on a weekly basis?
That is correct. Yeah.
Anybody else? Well, I think it obviously you've looked at all of the issues, and certainly we need to have a look at this before we okay it for sure. And have you talked to Geno's about any of these issues since they have asked to do it? No.
No.
So, go ahead, you had something else?
Yeah, I just mentioned, I think we should have an agreement in place. I think this is a great idea for the public or guests coming to town or even the local people that might forget to bring toys to the beach. But I really concerned we don't want to get a liability issue.
So the policy that we have says the town will approve the location and signage will be placed there, remove the store and store the toy box at the end of the season and respond to questions and concerns. So that's putting the onus on the town, not Geno's. They're just basically providing the toys.
That is
Is
correct,
that the
yes.
way, yeah. And the town will repair and inspect the toy box, but not every week. They'll do it once a year.
Yeah,
So it
that's right.
sounds like you've got something here from Qualicum Beach, so that's the way they have
Yes,
managed it.
yeah.
No, I think that makes sense to me as long as it can be added to the workload of whoever is going to take this on. Is that you, Mr. Davis?
Technically, Madam Mayor, to some extent, yes. But I did get confirmation from our new Director of Operations that as long as if there was an issue on a complaint, that, you know, if there are other issues pertaining to water, sewer, et cetera, that this wouldn't be taken care of right away. That, you know, it would definitely be on the queue, but be dealt with accordingly.
Great. No, that sounds fine to me.
I guess
Counselor?
I just go back to my, they have an agreement in place along with these. It's my suggestion.
Okay, go ahead. Counselor Bat?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just further to Councillor King's, basically, even if you have agreement and if the child chokes on a toy or something down there, they're gonna sue Geno's and they're gonna sue the town. And
Yeah.
if we have coverage, that's our job. But I think we should make sure that Geno's understands that by doing this, that through their insurance,
Yep.
that
Mm.
because it doesn't matter what agreement's in place, something happens to a child, it's. Yep.
Do we have any say in the types of toys that would be provided? I mean, it's been mentioned that somebody could choke on something. Can we have a look at what those are before they go into the box? Only because if there was something in there that might cause a problem like that, we wouldn't want to okay that, right?
Yes, Madam Mayor, for sure, we could either include that in an agreement in the policy, or we could have both. So we could have the general policy as a policy, but also have an agreement with Geno's and make sure the issues in terms of their liability as well is understood.
Good. No, thank you. I think that makes sense. So we okay with all of that? All right, did you, have you got enough information?
Yes,
Mr.
I do. Thank
Mr.
you very
Davis?
much.
Okay. Thank you. And next on our list is Mr. Risning, the Quarterly Council Strategic Priorities Chart and Infrastructure Strategy.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's that time of the year. Quarterly, we take a look at council's strategic priorities chart. As you and the public are hopefully aware that early in your term, you established kind of a one-pager on what the priorities are, and as well as an infrastructure strategy document that is reviewed quarterly. Looking at this provides direction to administration is so that we're in tune with what council's wishes are, and also gives an idea to the public as to what is on council's priority list. Unfortunately, within the report, the wrong attachments were included, so that's a pretty embarrassing moment. I apologize for that. They're just being handed out now. And so, yeah, it's not really, probably pretty difficult for you to provide feedback on it. Attachment 1 is basically what is approved, and we give it basically a status update, and we've actually put it on the screen for you and the people at home. There are some things that were completed, and there's some things that are a bit behind. I think there's some positive things, the low-speed vehicle, which is now in with the province, so hopefully within a few months we'll find out whether they actually approve what council has recommended. And yeah, hopefully we can move forward on some of these other items. Probably if council wants to ask questions about them, they certainly can. One of the important documents is going forward. So in attachment 3, administration has gone through and made some amendments to some of the dates and added some projects that are on the go. and those are included in track changes. And so now is the time for council to ask questions and to deliberate whether they'd like to change some of their priorities or add some. Thank you.
Well, thank you for, yeah, for bringing this up, because I was looking at this and question marks beside, and I thought, oh, I've got to ask all these questions, but I will let Councillor Chong start.
Awesome, thank you. Not to add more onto staff plates, but I'd like to propose maybe a bylaw which allows alcohol consumption on Jarrow Beach. I mean, since COVID, we've seen pilot projects successfully run through multiple municipalities, especially in the Okanagan. Penticton has now allows drinking in, I forgot, there's the two main beaches, and their bylaw looks pretty sound. So it's just something I would like to kind of put on the floor for deliberation and potentially place it on strategic priorities. As we know, like, there is alcohol consumption on the beach. People are very respectful of it. And we do a great job with education. But the worst offenders don't care if there's a bylaw. And by having a bylaw that allows alcohol consumption, I feel like it contributes positively to our tourism, and also kind of takes away that negative association from patrons who just want to enjoy a beach day. Obviously, we should have a stipulation which does not allow glassware for safety reasons. But yeah, what are our thoughts?
Have we ever had this before? I thought we talked about it before, and I wondered, over the years, have we ever allowed this? No, we haven't. Okay, it must have been at the regional district table where we were talking about it up there. Go ahead, Councillor
I
King.
just asked Mr. Chong here, is this sort of like a pilot project for the summer months or all year round?
I mean, we can always, I'm always a big fan of pilot projects because then we can gather data and then see if there's been an uptick in complaints or and things like that. I guess that's what we decide. We can do a year or 2 year pilot project. But it's also, we have a lot of data from previous municipalities already, and the success rate is, to my understanding, is quite high.
No, I support the idea. I just think a pilot project, I don't know how fast we could move on it for the town staff would be a question, but as through till sort of now to the end of September or something, as a pilot project, or whenever the staff could bring it forward for us to pass through to the end of September or maybe mid-October, I could support that and see what type of reactions we get or complaints we get.
I'm just wondering if the RCMP have been contacted about this at all, and whether they have anything they'd like to add.
Your worship, we haven't contacted the RCMP. We do know if something like this would be implemented, that the bylaw is one piece, and that's fairly simplistic, and Penticton and several municipalities have them, and it's a fairly simple bylaw. We would have to do additional signage and education, that type of thing. So it is, I think there is some additional pieces rather than just the bylaw, because you have to really specify where the lines are, and that type of thing. So then in public education, that type.
Putting up a sign saying drinking allowed, is that what you're thinking? Well, we could certainly look and see what they do in Penticton, for instance, and how they deal with it. I do know that the police understand that there is drinking down there, because they know, but when people are very careful about what they're doing and they're not being obvious and throwing beer cans and beer bottles around, that's the one thing that concerns me, because we certainly don't want, well, glass for sure, but if people are going to do this, then they have to be very, I think, respectful of others and careful about it. But it works in other places, so I totally agree with this. Yeah, let's give it a try. Anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I got concerns about the airport management agreement. Maybe that should be moved back a month or two. They're not in good standing right now. I understand they're gonna have their AGM to try to bring it up to date for 224, but we're already halfway through 25, so I presume they're gonna have another AGM for 25 to get in good standing before we even think about some type of agreement with the association.
Yep, through your worship, the airport committee, has been meeting and has, a draft agreement in place that was approved by their members as well as an asset management plan. We were planning to hopefully bringing that forward in, May. Um, and I do know that the airport committee, I believe they're having their AGMs, I think like later this month or early May, which should then bring them all into good standing.
Well, it's going to happen this week, and the 25th was the email we received, but that was only to catch up for 24. Now we're halfway through 25, so I would expect them to have 2 AGMs, or maybe, I don't know if they can do them both at the same time. Anyhow, and then they got to submit it to Victoria before it actually becomes official, and I don't know when that would. I'm not saying don't do the agreement, I'm just move it back a month or so.
Anything else? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. And again, not to add more to staff plate. But I mentioned this, I think a couple months ago. Had a brief chat with the VP of Co-op regarding the flagpole and how I think it was around COVID we stopped putting our massive can of flag up, and I can't think of a better time than now than to reintroduce that flag. Perhaps we can follow up on that conversation, because like right off the top of our head, the question becomes, is the flagpole still viable? Is it an aging asset? We need to inspect it to make sure it's still viable. So I'd like to put that fairly high up on the strategic priorities, with the hopes and the vision of potentially doing a flag raising ceremony for Canada Day or around that time, in the best case scenario.
So, your worship, I know there's been a lot of talk around town to show the unity of our country, and being proud Canadians. Another way to demonstrate, especially being close on the border. One thing, I did speak to our engineers on the flagpole, just asking like how, if they had a machine that could just quickly just test the metal. I thought it was just going to be a handheld thing, and unfortunately, no, it's not. They estimated about 30 grand to actually do the structural test of it. Supposedly, said they'd have to actually take down a pole to actually put it on the tester. So I just wanted to bring that forward for council, because I'm a big fan of something like that. But it's yeah, it's a lot more in depth than I had originally thought. So certainly something the administration can look into, and maybe even ask the co-op if they've actually done any integrity testing of it and that type of thing, or maybe there's some other ways of looking at it so that maybe the co-op would actually do it. But there are potentially some issues with the town taking it on to ensure it is structurally safe. But I just wanted to provide that somewhat alarming
So
information.
can I just say that I think Husky was the previous owner and Co-op have just taken over recently. We have never had to deal with it from the town's point of view that I know of. It was always Husky that I think they put up the pole. Yeah, and they always put up a new flag, and when people would say, hey, the flag's looking a little worn, Husky would do it. So we've never had to think of this part before. But, and if we can't do it for Canada Day this year, I'm hoping that we can get some Canadian flags certainly on top of the band shell. And we usually, I think, replace flags about once a year, only because with the sun and the wind, they don't last very long. I'm wondering if there's any other places that we could put up flags around town this year. It's the 75th anniversary of Cherry Fiesta, and I do know that they are planning, the Festival Society, to have banners made at their cost. And they asked me how they should go about doing this and finding out where they could put them up. So I told them to phone the town and would pass it on to operations, because I think we could maybe look at that if we can't do the huge flag this year. I wonder how they ever got it up there and down. Um, I guess there's a long rope attached to do that, yeah. I'm absolutely fine with recommending that we look into this a little bit further, but I don't think we have that kind of money in the budget this year, to get it done that quickly. I'm not sure. No, Mr. Risling, are you?
Well,
No?
yeah, we don't have money in the budget
Yeah.
for it. I mean, maybe there's some other options as far as working with a co-op to see if they would maybe take it on. Maybe there's community donations that could provide funding to co-op to take it on. I mean, there might be another way of dealing with this. Longer term, there's an RMI strategy coming forward that something like a new flagpole or something like that for the community would fall underneath that grant process. But I do know
Okay.
something like that would probably be $150,000 to $200,000 for a flagpole that big.
Mhm.
But there's lots of opportunities, and that's
And,
what we're here
and
to
where do
do, is
you
talk about
get
it.
a flag that large? Because I think I think we get our other ones like that we have outside here, outside town hall. I think we get them from Ottawa, but I'm not sure about a gigantic one or how much that costs. So that would have to be looked into as well. Go ahead.
I guess there could possibility to put some flags around the ice rink as towards Canada Day. And a few of our other facilities if possible. My understanding, I think that big flag you can order out of Vancouver, it's $4,000 or $5,000 for the big flag at Husky.
At least, I think, yeah. Yeah, that's what it used to be, yeah. Probably more. Okay, both good ideas, Counselor Chung. Anybody else have anything else they wanted to mention?
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
make one more comment. I guess, Mr. Reeson, you commented maybe you could touch base with the new co-op and see if there's some type of agreement or understanding we could come to. Maybe if we supplied the flag, they would kind of take responsibility for it. Or whatever you think would be appropriate to talk to them about.
Yeah. So let's keep looking at what we can do here, and perhaps it would, whether it happens this year or not, at some point, we'd certainly like to have that there, because that flag has always been sort of the entrance to town, and people liked it, so. But I know there was somebody that was looking at, somebody who sent us an email, and I don't remember who it was, that said that they were looking at trying to raise money for this. Maybe there is a group. Yeah. Okay, anything else that we'd like to adjust on this priorities chart? I think I'm gonna have to go through and look at it a little again. I've got all my notes on the old one.
So, Your Worship, then
Yeah.
can we have some motions? 'Cause I think even the flagpole, just to be
Okay,
specific, because I think the intent of the motion was to reach out to co-op to see if they would be willing to actually operate the flagpole, if funding could be made available to purchase the flag.
yeah.
That's basically the motion, and maybe we could yeah, we don't have that funding within our budget, but I do know the RMI strategy is coming forward, hopefully make it in time, soon, but there is funding in the RMI, do it
To
kind of
do-
a one-time.
okay.
The problem with something like that is you can't do it as a replacement, but as a one-time, I think it would slide into that program. We'd have to
Okay.
check with the province, but
Mhm.
to me, it appears as though that would qualify. And maybe just the chatter in the community, because I have heard as well that there's been people willing to donate
Contribute.
to this. So the motion is basically for administration to contact the co-op to see if they would operate the flagpole if the community or town could actually fund
The
the
flag.
flag.
Is that?
Yeah.
Are you seconding that? Okay. All in favor of that motion? Okay, thank you. Oh, even Zach.
And then there was discussion with regards to looking at town assets to see if there was an opportunity to raise additional flags in recognition of the 75 years of Cherry Fiesta. I think that's the only thing I could really commit to here is to see if we actually have some locations. Like I think all our flag poles are actually used, but maybe there's some things out there that we can do, and also depending on the cost.
So I agree with that. I think if there are places around town that we could add additional flags at this time, I think it gives people kind of a boost. Does that do you have any idea of that, Mr. Davis? Like where there might be? I do know the on top of the band shell. That's one, and one or two people that I talked to said they didn't know anything about that. So we usually there's a place up there for 3 flags. We usually have a town one and a Canada one. I'm not sure if the third one was filled. I don't remember. It's been a few years. But that's one, and I think that anything that we can do to encourage people to the Festival Society gets hundreds of the small paper flags and hands them out and that kind of thing, but.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, sure.
I think even like our facilities, as Councillor King mentioned,
Yeah.
we do have flags at the arena. We do have flags at the Sonora Center. The idea of putting a humongous flag on the side of the arena is pretty good too. Or a visual, like a video type thing. But even the museum and places like that, because it is, heritage and whatnot, so it would work well for sure. Yeah.
Think if people knew about it in town or thought they had a good idea that they could, move forward with it.
And your worship, I do know the museum does have a flag up right now. Maybe a couple of other opportunities are electronic sign at Sun Bowl. I'm not sure that takes images, but we could look into it. And then we also have the 2, we call them Modi signs, the electronic signs that we're purchasing for not only to advertise events that are upcoming within the community, but also to communicate water restrictions. I'm not sure if those have the ability to maybe put a flag on them. I mean, definitely we could put Happy Canada Day or something like that, but those might be a couple of opportunities that we can look at.
I agree. Anybody that has a good idea of where and encourage people to get flags and put them up and on their businesses and stuff, that's a good thing. Okay, was that a second motion or have you got a different motion then about adding additional flags?
So currently we have the council direct administration to add additional Canadian flags to our current town assets.
Sounds good to me.
Councillor
Yeah.
Chong.
Okay, seconder, all in favor? Zach's in favor too. Thank you very much. Is there anything else then? Oh, go ahead. You had something else? Yeah.
The alcohol consumption on Gyro Beach. So I guess that council direct staff to explore a bylaw allowing alcohol consumption on Gyro Beach as a pilot study with stipulations of no glassware.
Is that okay? Does that make sense? Is that okay? Is there somebody who would like to second that? Go ahead. All in favor? Zach, are you in favor? Good, thanks. Thank you very much. Was there anything else that?
Just, well, he's left now, but the airport thing, I'd like to move back a month till we hear if their airport association is in good standing.
Okay.
Okay. Is that on the new priority one? Oh, asset. Which one?
Airport. The number 1.
Yep.
Oh, okay, you're right. It's too small. I didn't see it. Okay.
The committee recommends
Um,
council approve the amended
And
strategic plan
actually,
following
yeah,
changes.
some of these sort of say 2025, June 2025, but it's possible that they could, they may get moved again. So this is sort of an idea that we have right now, but if things are moved a month or so on, that's okay too. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mayor, we can, Your Worship, through to Councillor King, we can do that. The Committee of the Whole recommend that Council approve the amended strategic priorities chart with the following changes. Move the airport agreement to May 2025? Okay, to May 2025, as contained in attachment 3.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be adjusted? Yeah,
First and
for
second.
that one first
Yeah,
of all,
let's do-
okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
All in favor? Okay, what about some of the others? The zoning bylaw, short-term rental, that says April on it, and
Yeah.
April's almost done, so I don't think, I mean, are we gonna change all of these to another month? Because, we're certainly not gonna get that report back, they're just working on it.
Yeah, we had hoped it was gonna be coming today when this was prepared and got notified last week that
that they're not.
It's gonna be the first week in, or second week in May,
Mm-mm.
so, yeah, it's a good one to change.
Yes. And it looks to me like some of these others, fees for nonprofits, okay, that's later. So I guess if it does get moved back a month, we can adjust that the next time we look at this too, so. I mean, we can't predict when they're gonna come. We can sort of recommend and where we think they should come, but they might not all fit in to this plan. Okay, anything else? Or, okay, we're all good. So, is there anything else that is on the agenda this morning? Are we okay? He jumped in. I was waiting for somebody. Are you seconding the termination? Oh, too bad, Zach, you were too late. All in favor. Thank you very much. Okay, we're all set.
Sorry. Mayor, it looks like we need that the Committee of the Whole recommend that Council approve the infrastructure strategy. Because we've done the priorities chart. Now we need to look at the infrastructure strategy. And the following change on that one would be the airport management agreement to May.
Yeah, so that's for the strategic priorities chart. The
Mhm.
infrastructure strategy, there's no
Oh, right.
recommended changes.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
from administration's perspective.
moved, seconded,
seconded.
all in favor. Okay, good.
Sorry about
No,
the
yeah.
attachments. That was
we'll have to go and
oversight.
adjust that.
No, that was my oversight. My apologies. It was not CAO Riesling. I put the report together, so I just want to apologize. That was on Corporate Officer Robinson right now.